Hello and welcome to another episode of Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield, and with me, as usual, is head coach Jake Russell. Coach, the Tigers go 8-2 in the regular season. Your losses come to Georgetown and to Cumberland, Tennessee, and you kind of get that at-large bid, and so you get into the playoffs with the at-large. You're the 12th seed in the playoffs, and so you get that first round bye, and I think it was probably, every team probably wishes they had it. Some probably don't. There's something to be said about, playing a football game and continuing to stay in that mode versus taking a break and having to come back into it. But nonetheless, you're able to kind of get maybe a reset and get some players that are a little beaten and banged up, and they're able to kind of get a little healthier and ready to go for this next matchup and hopefully for a little run here.
Yeah, pros and cons of either situation. Obviously, our last game in that weekend was a little unique in the fact that there's the disappointment of not securing the conference championship, something that we had, set in our goals and worked very hard towards. And, as a coach, you just want it so bad for your players. And then we really hadn't thought about what if we lose and we lose. And I think I mentioned this last week. There was, you could see it on a lot of our guys' faces. They thought this is it. And especially, the seniors, that's a hard kind of experience to go through. And as a coach watching them, as a coach, I'll be here next year, and those seniors, they won't. So, once you kind of let the emotions kind of cool down and sit down and thought about it and talked with the staff, we felt like, well, we're going to be in the playoffs. But we honestly just assumed that we'd be playing last week. And then after you really step back and look and say, what did we accomplish this year? Look at our resume. Not only have we had a great year in the toughest conference in NAIA football, we've also had some great wins. Obviously, the win over Lindsay and now the win over St. Francis just keeps looking better. And we knew how good they were when we played them. And I told their coach, you guys are going to go really far this year. Obviously with a really good quarterback and a good defense, you can go pretty far. And so we're very proud of that. And I think we did need that week, probably more mentally than anything. Yes, it's helped some guys get healthier. That's always very, very important at this time of year. Just can we get the guy that's playing at 70% to 75 or 80 by this game? Nobody that's played all year is really 100%. And that's true for both teams. I think sometimes that gets a little overblown of, the injuries have got us. Every team's dealing with that stuff. But I think our guys needed a little bit of a reset. Last week was the best week of practice we've had all year. And so I'm very encouraged by that. I think because there was no opponent for Saturday, I think because there was almost this gratefulness to just be practicing where we could have been doing exit meetings and turning in equipment. They really had a lot of fun and were flying around and just practiced free. And that's the biggest thing, is we want that to carry over then to hopefully the next 4 weeks, but just taking it 1 week at a time. And now our guys know there's no more hypotheticals. There's no more what ifs. We know we go win a football game on Saturday, we get to spend 1 more week together playing football, which our team loves to do. We don't win, then unfortunately it is the exit meetings and the pad turn in.
Now, I don't know how much or if you watched a little bit of the playoffs there in the first round. There's some craziness, some not. I think it shapes up for maybe what NAIA playoffs are all about. No, I don't think any of the higher seeds ended up winning. I think it was all the lower seeds that ended up winning this weekend. But some crazy games. That St. Francis game comes down to, I think it's a 22-yard field goal that just goes wide to the left and right there at the end, and they end up losing and their season goes. Reinhardt misses a 2-point conversion towards the end for a chance to tie it against Southeastern. They can't come out with the victory. So a lot of things happening with a lot of teams, and I think we saw some big comebacks. We saw some, games that were stalemates for most of the game, and it comes down to the end. So I think we kind of got to look at what all the playoff situations could look like and kind of the feel for what NAIA playoffs is.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's something, this is a new experience for myself and our staff. As a staff going to the playoffs, there's been things over the last week plus that I did not realize that you had to do these things for the playoffs. There's a little bit of the non-football stuff that you have to take care of week to week. And obviously not knowing where you're going a week ago, having to do the travel, and it being Thanksgiving makes it even more difficult. And it's kind of fun. I kind of feel for Coach Lewis because obviously a lot of that gets put on his plate. But one thing I just told Jamie on the radio show is in the playoffs, we won, but it wasn't our best game. We won, but we still feel like we're playing at a C plus or B. That goes out the window. At this time of year, you win a football game, that is the only goal. And then you move on, you say, let's just win one at a time. Early in the year, or even midway through the years, I think we were able to win some games where we didn't play our best. And as good as our team felt like they could be early in the year, there were some games we won. I can literally remember specifically being in the post game on the field after a win and our team being like, we shouldn't be happy. And I'm kind of telling them, like, you should be happy after any win, but not satisfied. Well, I hope that has really propelled us to a place where we're going to figure out a way to win all different types of game. What I think can be very interesting about this game Saturday, I believe it could be a variety of different scores. I think it could be a high-scoring game up in both teams in the 30s. I think it could be where both teams are in the teens. I think something that's been huge for us the last 2 years is we've been in all those different types of scenarios. So I'm excited about that, and our team needs to find a way to win when everything's not perfect, right? I think when we've had our struggles this year and lost games, it's when things haven't been perfect. We've still fought and found ways to be close and have a chance to win the games, but can we actually get over the hump in those really close games where everything's not clicking perfect in all three phases? Because that's when it's easy, right? Mm-hmm. In the playoffs, it's never going to be easy because everybody's really good. So I'm excited to see if all these experiences over the last couple of years in the close games can have really taught us how to win the close games, which you're going to be in the playoffs no matter what division or who you are.
And I was going to ask too about you got the travel coming up. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you leave on Thursday, correct?
Yes.
So you're leaving on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So not a lot of things open, and you're going to have to push through over there. And I know you end up stopping places to practice. Mm-hmm. So what does this week kind of look like for you guys as you all prepare to head out to Kansas? Because I think it's a 10-hour drive, but it'd probably be a little longer for buses, of course.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously you kind of planned last week of the couple different scenarios and what the travel would look like. So we worked hard on that. And again, Coach Lewis kind of leading the way there, and Coach Preston helping him out, doing a great job. So we're going to just normal week through Wednesday. Then we're going to practice Thursday morning, which is great for a lot of reasons. One, we're practicing on Thanksgiving. I've only done that once in my life when I was at the University of Kentucky. Obviously, it's the last week of the regular season in Division I college football. I didn't make it that far in high school. When I was in college here, the first round was everybody played, the week previous Thanksgiving. We got beat in the first round both times. So, Thanksgiving is a great time of year to be with family. But, man, if you can practice on Thanksgiving morning as a football team, it's just like the greatest thing ever. So we'll practice that morning. It's also great because I think the temperature and the weather is going to be very similar to what it could be Saturday. Mm-hmm. So I told our guys on our leadership council, practice even what you're going to wear or plan to wear for the game Saturday on Thursday morning's practice. And you may feel like, oh, this is nothing. You may say, I need to put on another layer. You may say, I can take one of my 6 shirts off. All those different type of things. It's different for everybody, right? We got Midwest kids and guys from the north that this is normal for them. We got guys from Miami that have never experienced this cold of weather. So that's going to be very cool. And then we're going to have a Thanksgiving lunch. Some of our parents, the best support system in the world, are going to put that on for us. And then we're going to get on the bus and travel. We'll get on the other side of St. Louis, stop for the night. And then we will go the rest of the way Friday. It's supposed to be a little bit of a secret, a little bit of what we're going to do, try to give our guys a really good experience. So I won't say that yet. Some of the plans for Friday, I'm sure they'll find out anyway. They're really good at that. And we're just going to have a great time. Something that was very important to me was when we make the playoffs, if we make the playoffs, I want this to be a great experience for our guys because there's no promise that we'll make the playoffs in the next 10 years because it's been 10 years, right? Or that we'll make it next year, or just like last year, we thought we should have been and you're not. So I want this to be an awesome experience. I hope it's 4 weeks, but even if it is just 1 week, because that's, you're playing a good team and they can obviously win. I want this to be something that they remember and can really kind of look back on, when they're my age and see that as an awesome experience like I do mine.
Well, Coach, we'll step away and we'll give you a quick break. We come back, we'll sit down with Chase Maynard here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like they can do it too, I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. With me is linebacker Chase Maynard. Chase, you transfer over from Concordia, and I'm just kind of curious what that process looks like as you say, okay, I want to enter the transfer portal, and Campbellsville is the home for me. So what sold you on Campbellsville?
So my school, Concordia, up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, it actually was closing down the sports. So I had to basically transfer. So my senior year, I entered the transfer portal, and I was looking for what the best option was for me. I texted, several coaches. I just want to make an impact. It was my last year. I just wanted to do something with it. And I get a text from Coach Atwood here, the linebackers coach, and he was like, "I want you to come up and do like a FaceTime call and everything." And it went great. And then I just I started looking more at the school, the education program, and I came from another Christian school, which that's where I really wanted to go, was another Christian school, because I think Concordia, my last school, saved my life. So I wanted to, experience a group of Christians again, like a group of guys that really want to chase after Jesus. And I thought that school represented the best. And I came for a visit, and I love the campus, I love the guys, I love the coaches, and I just thought this would be the best opportunity for me to play my last year. So.
When I was looking through your stats beforehand, because I go through and I'm kind of jotting stuff down on my stuff, and I'd go back to Concordia's website and I'm looking at statistics, and I see your stats for tackles, and it was an insane number. I think it was like 90 plus tackles, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, this has to be a misprint. There's no way. And I'll be darned, you show up and you're already number 2 in the team tackles. You're back into the backfield, forcing tackles for loss. You're forcing fumbles. You're all over the place, east to west, north to south. You're getting it done out of that linebacker position. You're doing a pretty good job at guarding, out there. You're able to guard in space. You're able to make open field tackles. So you're doing all the things that leads to successful defense. And it's that linebacker core, we had a lot of guys leave, but I think you've done such a good job of coming in and kind of filling that in. We've had several people that stayed as well from last year. Has there been anybody that kind of made their biggest impact on you when you came into the program and kind of helped lead you through kind of what Campbellsville looks like in terms of defense?
I think the biggest impact for me was probably Coach Atwood and Coach Gribbs. I think we really need the defensive coaches. I think they really brought me in and gave me a chance to play my best. They allowed me to do what I do best, I think, and I think they did a great job with mentoring me and helping me grow as a person and as a player. I think Coach Atwood does a great job with just being positive, his attitude towards football. He loves football. Coach Gribbs just being there for me when I need to talk to someone, I think is also a great thing. The guys in defense like Ellis Reed, Tyler Ballard, even guys that don't really play as much, Zeke. I think Zeke does a great job with leading the linebackers and helping us. But there's a bunch of guys on defense that I could talk about, but I really think the coaches is what helped me develop as a player here, and I'm very grateful.
What do you think the success of this defense has been led by? Like, what is the key to some of the success of this defense?
I think just us loving football. I think they have 11 guys on the field that love football and love to attack each week and each opponent. I think the coaches do a great job with giving us the game plan, and I think we execute the game plan at a great level. So I think it really just comes down to the coaches and our determination to win.
It's your first shot at going to the NAIA playoffs. So now you've been close before, you said, so now you're in the second round of the playoffs after the first round bye, and you're playing a school like Benedictine. What are the feelings going into your first playoff game?
So my brother played at Concordia as well, my last school I went to, and he made playoffs several times. And he actually played this team in the playoffs before, and I was there. So I'm very excited to see this team again, play them again. Like you said, it was my first time. I'm very excited. It's going to be a new feeling. I'm very excited to play with these teammates and these coaches, and I'm really looking forward to see what's next.
What's the feeling around the team? You know, you're headed to somewhere that's probably going to be a little chilly. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy, rainy, all the good stuff. Best thing is both teams have to play in it, but you all get probably a little less experience playing in that type of weather than they do. So what's the feeling around that locker room right now, ready to head out there?
I think last week we had a great week of practice. I think we just felt loose. We had a bunch of weight lifted off our shoulders. I think we're ready to come this week, this game, just fighting. I think we have the last game what happened was not what we wanted, but I think we have a fighting spirit. I think we're going to come out and show who we are, and I think the defense is really going to come together, and the offense, and we're going to come together as a team and love each other and be able to do what we do best.
What's the key to a win on Saturday?
I think the key on the win this Saturday is just sticking together. If we're down by 8, we're down by 21, doesn't matter. We're going to stick together. We're up by 21, no matter what. We're going to stick together and love each other. I think the key is just to know that if you make a bad play, it's the next play. Keep your head up, keep going, and I know I'm going to do this for my teammates, and I know that the coaches will help us do whatever it takes to win.
Chase, what's been your favorite part of Campbellsville coming here and playing?
My favorite part is just the guys. I think, going to the school, in my last school, I think it's all about the guys and the coaches. It's just about the people. And I think there's great people here. I think they've given me so many more reasons just to love everything I do. And I'm so grateful for everyone I meet. I'm always looking forward to meet someone new here. I'm always talking to someone different. I just really think the best part is just the people.
Chase, I appreciate you stopping by, and best of luck on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to step away, take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about that upcoming matchup with Benedictine here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I was depressed in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Welcome back to Under Center with head coach Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Coach, the Tigers now have their matchup. It's the number 5 seed, Benedictine. They're out of Atchison, Kansas, so you're going to take a nice long road trip down to Atchison, Kansas, and you're going to set up for what's kind of setting to be a cold, rainy, probably snowy day. So a lot of the southern players probably not going to enjoy that near as much as some others, but like you said, maybe hopefully get a chance to replicate some of that weather Thursday morning. And this is a team out of the Heart South that, a lot of these teams out of the Midwest, you really don't know about too often. You don't cross paths a lot. This is the first time we've ever played Benedictine. They're a team that's played Grandview this year. They've played Morningside, the number 1 and number 3 teams in the nation. They beat Morningside. They lost to Grandview. This is a tough team. This is a team that can explode on offense. They average 50 points a game. I think they're pretty even 200 plus yards passing and rushing a game, and their defense is stout. You're going to run into that with most of these playoff teams at this point, of course, but a team that's all around well-rounded, and they're going to be ready to go in a home game and what's possibly their only home game of these playoffs.
Yeah, a great challenge for our guys, just being around NAIA, I guess 10 years or a little more as a player and a coach now. This is a school that, I've heard of. I know even a guy that coached there. I think a year they made it very far, maybe even to the national championship game. They're used to this. That's probably the one big difference is they're very comfortable with the process of this week where I'm learning a lot of things. At the end of the day, you're going to travel. The field's going to be the same length. They're going to have 60 total minutes, I hope. I guess it could be overtime, maybe more, but 60 in regulation at least. Like all the rules are going to be the same. When the kickoff happens, there's going to be no difference. And we're very lucky in our conference to play in some great atmospheres. It sounds like they're going to have a great one. They'll be fired up as well, like you said. It could even possibly be their only, if they keep winning, their only home playoff game, and they'll do a great job with that, obviously. It's very exciting to challenge yourself against the best teams in the country that you're not familiar with. It's really exciting as somebody that's just a football guy, and we have a lot of those on our staff and team, to get to go outside of our conference and say, hey, here's one of the best programs, not just this year, just traditionally one of the best programs in the country that's been in the playoffs all the time, that's made it really deep, that's known in the NAI, and get to go and kind of experience their experience, right? And get to challenge yourself also and say, can we beat this team? Are we as good as we believe? It's one of our coaches was saying, and some of the players have repeated this, they said, we've beat the best team in the country twice ourselves, right? And that's very cliche, and coaches always say, we beat ourselves. Well, the other teams won the game as well. Like, we've played a really good schedule. I think that's prepared us for this more than anything, just being through those things and being through those things recently, right? They've obviously challenged themselves in their scheduling with Morningside and Grandview to start the year, and both those were really good games. Like you said, found a way to win a kind of a close one, and then they dropped a close one to the number one team in the country. So they've been sharpened too. They're going to be ready. I think this is really two of the best teams in the country. Obviously I'm very biased towards us, but when I watch them on film, you see a team that doesn't have any flaws, right? They're, like you said, they run and pass the ball very well. I think they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation and one of the best running backs in the nation. And then you look at them defensively and say, where are the flaws? As an offensive guy, as you watch the film, you say, here are the things that we can really take advantage of. And this week it's been, a little tougher because they're really good. And it's like, man, I think maybe here or there, but they've got really good players on their entire, team, but especially their defense as well. And then obviously any team at this point in the year is going to be very solid on special teams, really well coached. I mean, we could talk about how good they are on and on and on, and they deserve that. But, our guys got to find a way to win. Like I mentioned, whatever type of situation, and the weather playing a factor in that, and your opponent playing a factor in that, whatever type of game it turns into, can we just end up with more points than the other team? Ugly, beautiful football, high scoring, low scoring, somewhere in the middle. We've got to go out and play our best game of the year.
So what would be maybe the key to going in there? What does your dream look like of saying, okay, we walked in here to come out with a win, this is what we need to do? What is that key for this team?
I want our team to get back to playing a game to dominate an opponent instead of just to win. I think it's one thing that I look back on in the Georgetown week, something I had told the team every week, hey, the goal this week is not to win the game, it's to dominate the game. And that might not always mean it's a 50-point win. You can dominate a game and win by 3. I felt like Lindsey Wilson, we had that mindset. And I don't know if it was a domination of a game, because obviously they're a really, really good team, and they may, kind of have a good playoff run, and maybe we'll even see them again. But that Georgetown week, I think we got in the mindset of, because if we win, we get the conference championship, let's just win the game instead of going out to dominate. So I want our team to have that mindset. I think one of the biggest things, and it's probably always a big thing, is the turnover battle. They don't turn the ball over. We've been pretty good on our side not turning the ball over, so we've got to, maybe it's even just getting 1 or 2 and having none or 1 on our side. That's going to be a big difference in the game, because it's 2 teams that do a good job of not making mistakes. They don't commit many penalties. That's something we've improved on a ton even over the course of this year. So just playing clean football and also find a way when you have the chance. And you look back at the Georgetown game, there was probably 3 or 4 plays. The ball was on the ground a couple times. There was a couple passes that even hit our guy in the arm, and we didn't come up with those turnovers. We've got to find a way to get the turnovers while still protecting the ball on our side.
And there's, we've already seen a couple games in the playoffs where, those turnovers make all the difference. Even the other team that lost outgained in yardage, right? And it could have been by a little, it could have been by a lot, but they still lose by 10 or so points, 15 points. And you're looking at the score and you're going, well, this doesn't add up. And then you look and you see, well, they had 2 interceptions. They had 2 fumbles. And I think that's probably one of the scariest things when it comes to playoffs is that it can really come down to one turnover. It can come down to one big moment in a game where you just go back and forth, and that one thing could be, that absolute difference maker.
Oh, 100%. The things that you can get away with in some regular season games, and again, our schedule doesn't provide many of those opportunities where, hey, we got in the red zone 6 times, but we end up kicking 3 field goals instead of turning them into touchdowns. That matters in the playoffs. That against any really good team, that mattered obviously a couple weeks ago. Hey, we turned the ball over 2 or 3 times, but we got 5. Right? Those type of things just aren't going to happen in the playoffs. We moved the ball the whole game. Very cliche thing to say as an offensive guy. Well, they never really. Well, we only ended up with 10 or 17 points or 20. We didn't score enough, right? And then on the defensive side, hey, they moved the ball the whole game, but we, bend don't break in the red zone. We forced 2 field goal attempts. They missed one. We got a turnover on the other drive. Those are all things that now are just amplified when you're playing good teams that aren't going to beat themselves. That's probably the biggest thing at this point in the year and Benedictine is one of those teams you look at, and even on film you can see they're not going to beat themselves. They take care of the ball. They force turnovers, and some of their biggest wins and against the best teams, they've forced a lot of turnovers. So that's going to be a big challenge for us as well. But this is why it's exciting, because you get to go play one of the best teams in the country. And I think our team and our staff does the best when that's on the line.
And what's the biggest message to the team headed into this week?
Enjoy the moment, have fun. It's a blessing to be practicing at this time of year. But our goal when we sat down in January was to win the national championship. We would sacrifice the conference and a couple of those heartbreaking losses and a couple more of the last 2 years if it's prepared us for this moment to get over the hump in these games. So obviously taking it one game at a time, but we're going to try to win a game on Saturday. Play in a way that you're the aggressor, that you're the one playing with, in theory, nothing to lose, right? There's no more secrets, what ifs, like I mentioned. There's no where are we playing next week if we lose, or do we get to keep playing? You know what's on the line at this point, and this is really the first time for our program here that we get to experience that. And there's 16 teams that are practicing today. All 16 are capable of winning this thing. All of them are really good football teams, but our guys, when they walk on that field Saturday, not only have to think we can win the game, but know and believe we're going to win the game.
Coach, safe travels, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, get to practice and do some things. It'll be a fun time for sure still nonetheless. So have a happy Thanksgiving, and we can't wait to see you down in Kansas.
Yeah, see you down there. Appreciate it.
The Tigers are on the road to to Atchison, Kansas to play Benedictine College, the number 5 seed. That one is this Saturday. It's at 12 noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Khalil Baker will be there on the call. You can tune in to 88.7 The Tiger. You go onto the TuneIn app and you can look up WLCU and you can find us there. It should also be on the Urban Edge Network. If you want to watch the video coverage for that, mute them, and you can turn on the radio coverage and you can follow us. But nonetheless, thank you for tuning in to Under Center with Jake Russell.